What is going on? Welcome to GoldBoys Live. It is just me and Brad today. As always, we appreciate sleeper picks and pick at sports. I guess we're going to talk about Thursday Night Football first and then go into a big NBA slate. I have two bets in that slate, one in the Thursday football game I talked about. But, Brad, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. My head's all over the place. I gave out some EPL plays. I'm also trying to like actively live bet this game that's going on in soccer. I think that's what makes us, true to our profession. Europa. The play that I'm going to give in NBA is actually tied to Europa today. I think that's pretty cool. Like that, I can mix the two sports together. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. I just realized I don't know if we have a tweet to send out, so I'm trying to make one myself as we're on air because we're all very organized here. I think
Yeah.
that's the very important part of our show. Let me see here. Just want to make sure we get some tweets out so we get some people in here, so it's not just me, Brad, and Tony Stamp. So you mentioned your play is tied to like this game going on right now. What is
No,
your
it's
look
not tied
for
to this. It's tied for a game later.
game later?
Right now I'm taking Dinamo Zagreb minus 1.5. The other team just got a red card, and it's plus money. So basically, you're flipping a coin that the team that's up a man and up a goal will score in the last 16 minutes. They were already the far superior team. Now they're playing up a man. It's just really up to motivation if they want to do it. But I think if you're flipping a coin and you're getting plus 125, you have to take it every single time.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm gonna tweet this out for you, Brad. So it's yours, is what, Mr. Brad Thomas, right? For some reason,
At Mr. Brad Thomas, yeah.
I never can find it. Like I always type it in and then have to like try like six different times. But yeah. So, but I was gonna say, so games later, what is your like? How do you see this Thursday night football game? I mean, is it gonna
Yeah.
be another 45-10 type Thursday night game we saw last week with the Cowboys, or do the Seahawks actually have a chance to make it somewhat entertaining?
Yeah, I think it's going to be another blowout, man. I just don't think the Seahawks are going to keep a already banged up Geno upright. And then to make it worse, like I haven't loved what I've seen out of Charbonnet, right? Maybe this is the game he pops, but this game being played in Dallas, it makes me afraid to bet on props, right? It makes me afraid to bet on props because just like last week, you're gonna beg the players to play deep into the fourth quarter, and I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think that's fair because I talked about it earlier this week that it's still out there sometimes. I bet it earlier on the show on Tuesday at 82.5. It's still
Yeah,
84.5. I did take CD Lamb. I just think even in a game where they run up the score, you saw it last week that they were at 45-10 and CD Lamb I think he still had two targets in the fourth quarter. So he's
yeah,
just one of those kind of guys where you don't want to be in a situation where holy shit, I need 40 yards in the fourth quarter. But if he's at like 70, 71, I still think you're sitting pretty decent to get like a catch or two in that fourth quarter because he just, guys like him and, Keenan Allen, who never has a lead, so maybe that's a bad example. I just think that these kind of 10, 12, 11 target a game guys still are in play, even if it is a little bit out of reach. I just think you still have some hope with guys like that.
I agree with you. And actually, we were both on this bet last week when we got burned by CD. I think him not having a big game last week is like more chance for him to do it. Like, people talk about law of averages, but I think this is when you actually factor in a law of average, right? Like when
Yeah,
you have a
it's
guy like
hard to
CD.
back a guy that just broke your heart and ruined your Thanksgiving dinner as you're screaming at the
Yeah,
TV. But
yeah,
if you remember too, I think it was he had two plays, especially the one in the first quarter where he beat I forget who he beat 1-on-1 down the sideline, and Dak just missed the throw. Like it was one of those things where you look at the line and you're like, wow, that could have been a 40-yard catch. That would have
yep.
put him at this. Like so. I do think you got to factor in. He still had 9 or 10 targets in that game. Just didn't really have that connection. And I kind of mentioned it in the write up I had in the Discord GoldBoys.com.
Yeah.
Uh, I do think it's interesting to say that the Seattle defense plays a lot of zone. They and teams that play a lot of zone, I actually love attacking the high volume guys because if you play a man to man coverage, you can say, okay, we said it
That's
last week
good.
where it's like we don't want CeeDee Lamb to catch the ball. I don't care if it's Pollard, Michael Gallup. I don't care who catches the ball as long as we bracket CeeDee. If you run a lot of zone, you really can't key in and bracket on one guy. You kind of just have to play the zone you were running. So a guy like CeeDee Lamb should be able to find soft spots in the zone in the entire game. So I think it's a lot easier to back a
Excuse me.
guy like that when you know that the team doesn't run a lot of man to kind of take you out of the game.
And we've talked about this in kind of in exhaustion with the Seahawks, is how the Seahawks like to play everything kind of up front at the line of scrimmage, which leaves pockets of space in their zone a lot for guys to get chunk plays. That's when you want to bet on guys getting the chunk plays. You want them to get those 10, 20-yard receptions because that's where you really start to rack up.
Yeah, if his reception line wasn't at 7.5, I would probably looked at the receptions. But you mentioned the big plays. Give me one like Michael Thomas esque slant where he
Yep.
just finds a slant route and he just. I mean, he's good enough to do it. Like you give me one block
Yeah.
on a crossing pattern, and you give me one guy to beat. Maybe he can cash this in like the first quarter on just one of those long yards after catch plays. You're so used to seeing from him.
Yeah, I like it. Let me I what was funny is I was trying to look up his A dot. It's still pretty high. I just think CD's now turned into one of those guys where you could bet him 100 plus every game and you're gonna be profitable because it's always
Yeah, he
plus
started off
money.
the year rough, but he is like I
Yeah,
said.
he's
Even if he missed last week, like he's just been ripping off these big yard games.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think it's good to say. And before you get into like what you wanted to bet in this game, I also want to mention Michael Gallup's another guy I was really tempted to bet. I just couldn't fire two players in the same, receiving corps. But his
Yeah.
line's 15.5, and he crushes it against his own coverage. He's just one of those guys where you're only going to get two targets, maybe three targets a game, which is so stressful. Which if you know me, I bet a lot of running backs prop for
Yeah.
he fits in that category, that low volume prop. But I do think you'll be getting a text from me in the group chat when Michael Gallup catches a 20-yard pass first play of the game, and I'm going to shoot like,
What would you do with Brandon Cook's number 41 and a half? Too
that's
high?
such a tough number because like he's another guy we talk about CD Lamb with all these like, oh, it takes one play.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks is a spark plug. Like talk about a guy that takes one play, kind of like a Tank Dell esque. Like he just can get these, he can get behind the defense, and all of a sudden you see him, backtrotting into the end zone. So I really think it's tough. I almost bet on Dak in this game just because I like so many of the receivers for this team, but
Yep.
Dak's line was 280.5 or 286.5, something like that it opened up at. And I just think even if they're throwing the ball that well, that's such a high number. You're asking for a guy in
Yeah, it
a
is.
you're asking for a guy in a -10 spread to give you basically 300 yards. That's kind of where I ended up on CD. But actually, Brandon Cooks is 38.5 on FanDuel. So yeah, some lower lines. But if you do believe in the FanDuel wizard, they have was it CD Lamb at 87.5. So they're by far the highest line on CD. So if you believe in the wizard that the FanDuel knows everything that's going on in the world, it should make you feel a little bit more confident there.
I'm waiting for the game where Zach Charbonnet has 40, 50 receiving yards.
It could be tonight. The game script's there. What's his
Yeah,
line?
that's what I'm
18
saying.
and a half?
Yeah, it's 18 and a
18 and a half.
half. I played it last week and the game script just didn't get there for me.
Yeah.
I played the alt line. I didn't play the baseline. I'm probably going to play the baseline and the alt line too. Like, I think it's just have to. Like, the game script's going to be there. I think Cowboys are about middle of the pack in receiving yards allowed. They'll to running backs. I think it's like 30. Oh, it's 25. 25 yards per game to running backs because of the game scripts they put in. And
Yeah.
Charbonnet is the kind of guy who can get chunks by just basically beating him with his legs. Beating him with his
Yeah.
legs, excuse me.
No, yeah, I like that. Maybe if we have one of those 25% like same game profit boosts, I'll build something with Chardonnay, like with his receiving CD Lamb and Michael Gallup, and just
Yeah.
have an all time stress game to watch, and turn a Thursday night football game into just like a stomach ulcer. So that'd be a fun time.
Yeah,
So
you're the running back receptions guru too. That's what makes
yeah,
it great.
yeah. Well, nothing beats the Rashawn Johnson one. Those are the best ones. But like as electric as it is to
Sweat
catch,
free.
as electric as it is to cash in like the fourth quarter on a low volume line, give me the first drive every single time. Just like give me the first drive. Let me win my 150, and then have like some money to play with to like live bet.
Yeah.
That's the goal, is just cash it right away and then make the night a lot more fun. So hopefully we
Yeah,
can
that
see
was
that.
great.
You're not gonna be able to get that with guys like CD Lamb. It's gonna be really tough to get 85 yards on the first drive, but maybe we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of places aren't even listing Geno Smith props. Like, I wonder what exactly this game will look like for the Seahawks. Have to imagine it's just a gross game all around for them.
Did you put it did you I don't know, you didn't bet it, but did you have any thoughts on this the spread or the total for the game?
Yeah, it's hard not to take the Cowboys, right? I mean, but then you look at it, 8.5. We talk about all the time. As much as people think 6.5, 7.5 are like these big numbers because they are, 8.5 and 9.5. Honestly, I think I changed my train of thought there. Every line is big, like in the NFL, because 8.5 and 9.5 are also huge swing lines where you have those
Yeah.
two possession, one possession games. But it's hard to think the Seahawks cover this unless Will talks about all the time it's going to be maybe that 14, 17 point game. And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
8 point swing because of a garbage touchdown. They go for two. And all of a sudden, they're down eight rather than being down nine. And that
Yeah.
8.5 is just automatically just destroyed by that, oh, there's 38 seconds left. We're down 16. Let's get 8 points and try to get onside kick. And then all of a sudden, you're just punching the TV because your surefire win is all of a sudden getting quote unquote hooked by the 0.5 there. So unless you see a backdoor cover, I just don't know a way where this is going to be like a one possession game all throughout the game where you have to sweat a Cowboys ticket unless you're like waiting for that backdoor cover.
I wish that you could I wish that it was a good teaser spot. I really want to, like, if we can get the Texans, if you can find the Texans at -4, or I guess you'd say, if you this is say it correctly, if you could get the Broncos at +4, I would tease the Cowboys tonight and then the Broncos
Six
up. I
points
don't
each
think
way
yeah, I don't think the Broncos lose by more
by
than
double
10
digits.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, once again, we have one of these primetime games that's 47.5, and I have no thoughts on that
yeah.
because they should go under. They all go under, but we saw it last week with the Cowboys. Was it 45 or 35 or 45-10? Like, the Cowboys are a team that if they get going, their defense is good enough to score, their offense is good enough to score that
Yep.
even if the Seahawks put up 7 or 10 points, I don't even know if that's a safe line with how this Cowboys team can score on both sides of the ball plus special teams. So I'm not touching the total there.
Yeah, it's just like, and then it's like, if you blind bet it, cool. If not, then you're like kind of screwed. You're like, oh, that stinks.
Yeah,
So
I just think I'm too far into this season to not be blind betting it. Where if I just start now, it's going to be the most historic run of overs on prime time that the world has ever seen. So maybe I should do it. Maybe I should do it for entertainment purposes. Give people some overs, start betting the unders because that's just how it would work if I start hopping on the trend so late.
dude, I literally see people on there just bet it blindly. They don't even care who's
Yeah, and
playing.
they're
They
they're
just bet
sitting
it
there
blindly.
in their new yachts, and we're all just
Yeah.
sitting here talking about CD Lamb props for 20 minutes, and they're just closing their eyes and hitting under and winning a lot of money. So
Yeah.
can't hate them there. Before we move on to NBA, I did bet something for the NFL, like another player prop I wanted to give out because I think it might move a little bit. I did bet Sam Laporta over 39.5 receiving yards. I'm shocked still getting lines that are like around 40. I mean, he's getting five or more targets in every single game.
Yeah.
He's clearly the guy for the Lions outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown. And as I kind of just told you, how I like to bet high volume guys in zone when they play against zone teams. It's like the opposite in this game. Amon-Ra St. Brown is so much better in zone coverage than man-to-man coverage. The
Yeah.
Saints play man-to-man at basically like at the highest rate I've ever seen any team
Yeah.
ever play. So I was waiting on the line for Laporta because if Amon-Ra St. Brown is like, he's going to get his, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get peppered with like 86 targets in a man-to-man look like this. So give me like the other guys, like the Laportas or maybe the Jameer Gibbs, those kind of players that can leak out and just have big gains against man-to-man coverage. So I was shocked that Laporta is still getting lines under 40. He has 40 more yards in like every game but one this year.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay, I
so
like that.
I just feel like he's forgotten about, and I don't think the Lions are good enough to, pummel teams like we used to see and win this by like 60 points. I think it's going to be closer to that -4 you see in the spread.
Yeah.
So give me all the Laporta props.
Wait, let's go through first touchdown score before we get out of here. I know
Oh
people love
god, we're
hearing
doing
about
this.
that.
Yeah, let's do that. This is always a deflating segment of our show. Not just because the prices are so bad, but even when they're quote unquote like, oh, it was Hawkinson. We had four people on the Monday show. No one picked Hawkinson. Like,
No.
And like it's easy to say, "Oh wow, of course it's Hawkinson." No, it's not. Not of course. You would think that, but then the one time you go with the Hawkinsons, it's the Josh Olivers or it's the random punt returner that's playing because the other punt returner got like a sprained ankle. It's always those kind of guys.
Yep. No,
So
it's such misery, literally.
so let's check the odds. I think Pickett's having some issues with my phone because I can't open it right
I
now.
can read them. I can read them out.
Yeah.
CD Lamb plus 450 is tied with Pollard as the short shot. Kenneth Walker is listed, which is funny. Charbonnet plus 850, Ferguson 10-1, Brandon Cooks 11-1, Metcalf 14, Lockett 14, Gallup 16, Dowdle 16, Jackson Smith and Jigba is at 22, Dak at 11-1, Tolbert 28-1, Turpin 33, Geno Smith 40,
Give
Fant
me Shoemaker
40.
35-1. I just opened up 35 to 1. Give me Shoemaker.
I probably go with man, I'd probably go with Ferguson. I think I said Ferguson last game. I probably just go back with him again.
Yeah, and then when it's a backup Shoemaker, you're gonna feel like an idiot. Shoemaker's the king of almost scoring. He had that one against the
Yeah.
Eagles, and he had a different one where he loves getting right down to one. Yeah, this is a game where I think you have a right train of thought. It's so boring and the prices are so bad, so I'm not even gonna bet it. But it's
Yeah.
gotta be like Pollard, Lamb, or Ferguson, right? It's like
Yeah.
I just the Cowboys aren't that tricky of a team where they don't really run a lot of those. Oh, it's a fake handoff. Oh, and the linebacker like leaks out. Like I don't know. It's like you don't really see
Yeah.
that kind of misdirection with them. I think they have their guys. They have CeeDee Lamb. They have these guys like that have so big and so juggernauts in the red zone. They're like, hey, we're gonna throw to number 88, and then you just gotta stop it. Like that's
Yeah.
really what we're going for right here. So I think it's gonna be one of those three, unless something crazy happens where the Seahawks remember how to play football, which is a big maybe.
No, I looks like Ferguson because I think he's gonna have the easier
Yeah.
route to run in the red zone. So
Yeah, not like that. So moving on to the NBA slate.
mm,
Last night I only had one play because I had two, and then technically three, but they all revolved around Joel Embiid who randomly didn't play. But I do think this is a good slate to have. Do you have any bets locked in? Because I have the grossest bet ever, and
yeah, I do.
it follows one of your theories, and it's just like putting it in my bet slip today made me kind of throw up a little bit, but I do have it locked in.
Dude, I had
You
D'Anthony Melton 20 plus points yesterday. Ah, he just kept bricking threes and then missed
what he end up? What was his stat line? I saw.
17. He ended up with
Oh,
17. I was pissed. It was 4-1.
I was a little mad because you talk about going back to guys and this, that, the other. I bet on him the other day where I needed 12 points and he had 9. So same thing, he needed one more 3. And he
Oh,
played so bad 2 games ago. I was so ready to go back to him. And then I saw a lot of smart people on him again last night, and I was like, I should go back to D-Melt. And I just never got around to it. And then I saw Joel Embiid was rolled out. My first thought was, God damn it, why didn't I go back to Melton? Because he's gonna crush tonight. And then the Lions got all taken down. So it was still good to see him have a good night.
I
But your theory, Brad, in the group chat is you say you talk about blind betting. You've mentioned
yeah.
blind betting guards against the Bucks.
Yep.
Can I interest you in a Zach LaVine over after he scored a whopping 2 points last game?
This is gonna be the Zach Levine get paid game where he goes to a team after they trade him. Buy sell high, sell Zach Levine high.
Yeah,
I think you have to take it. Like, what's his stat? What's his number at?
so this is what I was trying to say earlier too, is where I do think FanDuel's a very sharp book. FanDuel this morning opened Zach LaVine at 23.5, and I was like, I think he's gonna crush. Is DeMar gonna play? And then right before the show, DraftKings and MGM opened at 20.5, and then FanDuel dropped him 2 points. So FanDuel actually opened him 3 points higher than his consensus line is right now. So as soon as I saw that 20.5 came out -110, I did bet the over 20.5. I think it's almost telling that other books that were early had him so much higher than what he said a
Yeah.
lot now. I just think 20.5. It's
I,
so
I
gross.
I think you have to bet it though. I'd go up to 25, get a little bit
Yeah,
more
like
skin in the game. It's like the problem with Zach Levine is not that he's not gonna not have the opportunity. Like he's gonna have a ton of opportunity to score.
I think it's he played the Bucks earlier this year. He scored 20 and he shot 5 for 19. So you need one more point against a guy that could be a little bit more motivated. I
Yeah.
think like there's theories out there that Zach LaVine is intentionally sucking to drive his value down. As much as you want to believe that, he's still an NBA basketball player. He's still a scorer.
Yeah.
You have to come out hungry after a 2 point game because a 2 point game it destroys your season average, man. Like you got to
Yeah.
get that back up. Like
Like
he
you
had
can
an eight he had an 8 point game earlier this year, and he followed it up by going for 51 the next game. So I do think there is something to like buy into that theory that after a shitty game like that, you have to think a guy like Zach LaVine wants to come out and show up
yeah.
because 2 points is unheard of. I mean, Tone Stamp could run around for 25 minutes like he did, and he might be able to find a three. So I think it's one of those things where 20 and a half, you take the medicine if you lose. If he comes out here and he does tank, he takes 8 shots. It's gonna be so frustrating, but it comes with the territory if you're getting such a discount on a guy like Zach LaVine to get a line this low.
Yeah, no, I like it. I've been blind, but I did it with Kyle Lowry. I'm gonna be actually take something different. I'm gonna do two parlays. The first one, so I'm gonna give the bet that I know is widely available. The Thunder money line with Liverpool tonight. Liverpool plays tonight. And by the way, the live bet that I gave out on the show just cashed for anybody who got it in. Liverpool they play at 2:45 with the Thunder. Lakers on the back to back. No way AD and Braun suit up. And then the second one, the second bet is Liverpool -1 and the Thunder. It pays a little bit better. And then and then I'm putting half a unit on each of those. And then the next legs or the extra unit is Aston Villa, who plays today, with Thunder money line. So basically, Thunder is the main play
I like the
against the
Thunder tonight.
Lakers. Yeah,
I
on
like
back
the
back to back. I was shocked that LeBron played yesterday.
Yeah, well, I see. I bet on LeBron. I thought LeBron would play yesterday, kind of get his stats up, and then sit against a tougher matchup. We talked about it a little bit on the show. And I know you missed the show, but I did bet on LeBron yesterday, and he barely
Yeah,
cashed. But that was kind of my theory: is in a back to back, not to shit on LeBron, but such a LeBron move to be like, all right, let me play against the Pistons, get a win, drop 25, and then rest against the Thunder. That is a team that should actually beat us and be a decent team, which it's not even just a LeBron thing. It's an overall thing in the NBA. I think in back to backs, you have to just do that kind of stuff and
yep.
pick and choose your spots. And I think he picked his spot yesterday. Someone said Tony says I took Knicks 2 for 20, LeBron 20, so I'm happy he cashed. Yeah, I was watching that game where he was playing in the fourth because LeBron still gets that fourth quarter rotation even if it's a little out of hand, and he shot over 2. Like he missed back to back shots, Brad, where I needed
Yeah,
when I needed 1 point to catch. You know what I mean? Like he was at like 23 and I needed 25, and then there's nothing worse than seeing like a guy like miss a shot in that like down 30, don't have a stoppage, no timeout, and it's like LeBron misses for the jumper, and it's like off the back iron, and you're like, Jesus, man, you only have 38 seconds to go. Like we gotta catch this now. But I had PR. And he got a rebound before checking out, so I did hit, which is nice. Thank you for
today's
that big defensive rebound.
today's gonna that's funny. Today's gonna be funny because like there's a lot of massive spreads today.
Yeah,
One of these big favorites is getting taken down. I think it's probably gonna be the Atlanta Hawks at minus
I
seven
like
and a
that. I
half
like that.
on the
Yeah.
road.
Do you want to take that? You want to take the Spurs tonight? We'll shop lines. I'll put like $20
Yeah,
on that. I'll take the
I'll do
Spurs.
it.
I
Let
like
me do
that.
it right now.
Speaking of big spreads, the other play I have today is I took Mikal Bridges under 23 and a half points. I like that play a lot. Cam Thomas is back, baby. Cam Thomas is
Yeah,
finally returning. And all the love to Mikal Bridges, but are you surprised that Mikal Bridges keeps getting 23 and a half lines? He
dude.
never scores 24. And I could eat my words. He
It-
could drop 30. But even if I don't win this bet, I just think this guy should be a 20 and a half point spread guy. Like
yeah,
that should be his line. I'm a little upset. I bet his under twice this year. I'm 2-0 on it. I'm upset I haven't bet it 18 times because I think he's only gone over 3.
he it's because it feels like he's getting lines from last season. Like,
And
like
it's not last season, Brad.
no.
like, no, yeah, like I like. And my biggest thing here is A, I think his line's just too high in general. But B, if you look at the defensive rating of the Hornets, it is dog shit. There's
Yeah,
only one guy that can play defense on that roster, and it's Miles Bridges. So Mikal Bridges literally gets the only matchup that can play defense. Like
yep.
if I am the Nets, I don't even game plan for Bridges. Let the Johnsons, like Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, maybe Dinwiddie, like let those guys that are matched up with like the Terry Roziers or these other guards, or even Mark Williams down low. I don't know
Yep.
why you would game plan a game where Mikal Bridges has to figure out Miles Bridges, who is the only guy that moves his feet. He has the length. I just don't see it. Like let Cam Thomas come back and drop 40. That's
Yep.
what I'm saying. Like I don't think there's any lines for Cam Thomas, but there's just so many outs for Mikal Bridges to stay under. And I just think 23.5 is a little high.
I like that. I like that. Those are the only bets that I had for NBA right now.
No, I
I've been
like that.
trying, bro. I've been trying to be really cautious betting NBA before 5 minutes before tip.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you had Maxi under yesterday, you got screwed because
I
Embiid.
did have Maxi under,
You did. That sucks.
and I
Yeah,
couldn't cash out. It wouldn't let me cash out.
that's what I mean. Because it's one thing if someone's listed, but sometimes these illness injuries, whatnot, like you don't know, and then all of a sudden it's like a bomb hits your bet slip. So it is tough. So
Yep.
I do think that no matter who plays for the Nets, I like this under for Bridges. My last point was 30% of his points on the season come in the fourth quarter. So in the -9 spread, if it's meaningless minutes in the fourth quarter for a guy that scores such a heavy volume in those clutch moments, if he doesn't have to score in the fourth, I don't know if there's a reason for him to come out there, play 8 minutes in the fourth quarter, score 12 points to help propel us into victory. The Nets should be able to handle business and get people rested earlier. So he should
Yep.
hopefully see a little bit less minutes.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. That'd be a fun game. I think it's also telling that the over-under is 24.5. I feel like these Charlotte games are usually like in the 230s, but this should be a slower pace game. I do believe, especially without LaMelo Ball. I think it doesn't get enough credit that LaMelo Ball paces up the Hornets so much that without him out there, it is a little bit slower of a game. It's a little bit more
Yeah.
clunky. You miss your big primary ball handler that is just, I guess, missing significant time again. That's really unfortunate
Yeah,
for
that
him,
sucks for him. It
but it's
sucks
good for
for the
unders if you're good. It's good for unders if you're betting props, right? I mean,
yeah, the Ball family is not very healthy now, man.
yeah, it's very sad because like Lonzo Ball is just he hasn't played in forever, and it's just such a shitty situation. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Looking at these other games, the Pacers Heat should be a fun game. I don't know how to even bet that, but
I don't either.
would you have believed if I told you that the Pacers were a +2 team against like the Heat at the beginning of the season? I know the Heat's not healthy, but it's kind of crazy that I actually think there might be value in the Pacers even on the road because this team they're
The,
just winning games.
my problem with the Heat though is in situations where like I'm like this would be a great spot to fade them. Somehow they win and cover, like they win by double digits. It's like what? How did that happen?
Last game against the Bucks, they did that. They almost won that game, and I was shocked that
Yeah,
they made it that competitive. Yeah,
I would probably take
I
Jimmy Butler over 23 and a half if he plays a
yeah.
uh full minutes, but I don't know if that's happening. Like that's what's pretty tough.
The only thing that scares me about the Heat sometimes, it did it last time, but sometimes when they play these teams like the Pacers that play at such high pace and the over-under is like 240, I just wonder sometimes how the Heat can keep up with that because their team is not built for, oh, let's put up 130 points and get this win against the Pacers in a shootout. They're built to slow things down, play defensive basketball, and if this turns into like a track meet, the Pacers are just so much better built for that.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. The only other prop I looked at, I know the gambling Twitter world's all on it, is everyone's going back to Jalen Brunson. He hurt me so bad last game, and I just don't know if I trust him to come back and be super motivated because by all extent of the word, the Pistons in a back to back, they should get destroyed
Destroyed.
today. And my thing is I bet it last time, even though I figured that they're going to destroy the Hornets. It's different if it's the in-season tournament. I feel like because you have some kind of incentive to play. This is just a regular game. They played high minutes last game. I wouldn't be surprised if we see people from the Knicks rest early. It's just so hard to bet unders against the Pistons because you can get bailed out for a blowout,
Yep.
but you also don't have a single person to match up with anybody. So
Not a single person.
yeah, like imagine
Like
yesterday if you were like, "Hey, I think the Lakers are gonna blow out the Pistons. So I want to fade Anthony Davis. It's like, hey, you got that right. They did
Yeah,
blow them out,
and
but
he's
Anthony Davis almost dropped 150 points because there's just no one to stop him. So it's one of those things where you can get bailed out by a blowout, but it's so hard to bet hoping a blowout bails you out because if that's the only reason you're betting a prop, maybe you should just take the spread. Like I'm fading Mikal Bridges not just for the blowout reason, but because I think it's a bad matchup. If you're betting just for the blowout to bail you out for an under, just take the spread. I mean, even
do I
though at
take
14 and a half is high.
what's crazy is like I want to take Jalen Brunson, but should I go Jalen Brunson 30 plus and the alternate spread of minus shit, I'd have to get a better number, minus 20. Take them both because I don't think both miss. Like Jalen Brunson, it's plus 250 for Jalen Brunson to score 30 points. He's
Yeah.
going to take 5 million shots against a team bad against guards. I'm trying to get the alternate lines, but FanDuel is giving me a hard time right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I was on Brunson
No,
last
no.
game where he took like 8 total shots and
Yeah.
I wanted to punch the wall.
Ooh, the alternate spreads are really gross. Minus, you'd have to
Yeah.
go up to minus 22. Minus 22
Yeah.
gets you minus 20 and a half. Nope, minus 21 and a half gets you plus 215. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'll put a half unit on him to score 30 and a half unit on them minus 21
Yeah,
and a
isn't it
half.
kind of gross to say that we're in the stage of the NBA where winning by 22 is like, yeah, we'll double your money. It's like,
Yeah.
really? Like, you're gonna give me 2-1 on that? But
National
that's
Blowout Association.
that's kind of the state route, especially when a team that still believes in Killian Hayes. That's just what you get.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just gave Killian Hayes a random stray, but I think it's a good way to end the show is talking about how bad Killian Hayes is and betting on Jalen Brunson just to go ham, especially after I'm not going to bet on this game after he let me down. So that's a recipe for him to just go off.
Yeah. Agreed.
Do you have any closing thoughts before we head out of here and kind of get on with our days and see what else is on the slate?
Nah, man. This was fun. We got some good bets going out. Let's get a Jake Ferguson first touchdown.
Let's get a Spurs win as well. I think we got
Yeah.
some fun stuff going on,
Yeah.
but
Let's get a Spurs win.
yeah, I mean, we'll be back tomorrow, noon, for the GoldBoys live show. We'll have more of a packed room, rather than just us two. But as always, we appreciate everyone tuning in, and we appreciate Sleeper Picks and Pick at Sports, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.